These young men, given unlimited power in the new guard role, abuse the prisoners, not only abuse it, taking delight in imposing their power on prisons. So for me, evil is all about the exercise and abuse of power, intentionally to diminish, to deny other people their freedom. So it became a compelling prison of the mind. Evil, then, means it's about power, and for most of us, we don't have much power. So when we are put in a position where we're given power, as we become bosses, as we become foremen, as we become professors, for many of us, we attempt to abuse that power. And the way you do it is by convincing other people that they are powerless. This is all too true of the abuses that were digitally documented in horrific images by American soldiers in Iraq's Abu Ghraib prison. Those scenes of male and female prison guards enjoying degrading other human beings were horrible, and went around the world. When I saw them, I was shocked the way you were, but I wasn't surprised because I had taken those same pictures 30 years earlier. Guards putting prisoners naked, putting bags over their head, stripping them naked, and humiliating them sexually. The interesting thing, all of the 9 soldiers on the night shift got dishonorable discharge. They went to prison for 3 years, 8 years, 10 years. Not a single officer ever went to trial. Not a single officer got a letter of reprimand. So this is how the system protects itself. So the system in the military is all about the officers. Soldiers come and go. Soldiers die in battle. Officers rarely die in battle. And so here the system says, blame them, don't blame us. In fact, they say it's not systemic. Let's switch completely to a different kind of prison. One positive light that's shown out of the Stanford dungeon was research on shyness. I began to do research on shyness the next year, 1972, because I realized that in our study, we had arranged for the authorities to take away the freedom of the guards. And I began to think, in shyness, nobody takes away your freedom, you surrender it. You say, I'm shy, therefore I can't do this. Therefore I can't ask a girl for a date. Therefore I can't ask a question in class. Therefore I can't ask for a raise. You limit your freedom of association, and ultimately you limit the quality of your life. So I began to talk about in my class, linking shyness to the Stanford Prison Study, and even saying, really what it means to be a guard is to issue coercive rules that limit the freedom of prisoners. You must do this, you must do this, you must do that, you must not do that. And ultimately you get punished if you violate the rule. In prison, you always rebel. It's in our nature not to accept those coercive rules, but you give in at the end because the punishment is too great. And so I said, isn't shyness a person internalizing the prisoner mentality and the guard mentality? Giving yourself rules. Don't do this, don't do this, you must do this, and then accepting it. So I went from doing education, and I realized there was 1972, there was no research at all on shyness in adults. The only people who studied shyness were developmental psychologists, and they stopped at age 13. But I knew I had students who were shy, I had family members who were shy. I was, of course, I was never shy, but everybody else around me was. So I began to do research on shyness, collecting lots of data, correlational data, survey data, experimental data, and then I said, we know enough to apply our information to try to help people who are shy. So in 1977, I set up the first shyness clinic, I think, in the world, devoted only to treat shyness. And that clinic is now, it's been in the community all these years, and now it's part of the Palo Alto University clinical program. And for me, I think that's more than a prison study. I think for me, I think of that as my most important legacy. I mean, that's what I would like to have on my tombstone rather than he helped create evil. But again, for me, what psychologists should be doing is thinking big thoughts, not little ones that we often do, that we put into our hypothesis. And then sharing those thoughts with students and colleagues in education. Then what we're equipped to do, more than almost anybody else, is take ideas and test them in experiments, get hard data, get evidence. And once we get the evidence, it's not enough to put it in an article in a journal or a chapter in a book. My feeling, we have an obligation then to apply that knowledge to improve the human condition, either in this case in therapy, in intervention, or in political action. So then, at the end of the shyness program, it's really not enough to get somebody who's shy not to be shy. That means you go from negative to zero. So the end of our training is how do you get people who are no longer shy to become socially engaged, socially active, instead of being the timid guest, have everybody think I am the host at the party of life. So my new mission in life, that I hope I will do for the rest of my life, is how do we find new ways to inspire the heroic imagination in all of us, especially in our young people. So Václav Havel, for me, is the exemplar of starting with an imagination, a mindset, to say what exists is not acceptable, and what could be. What is it that collectively we all want? We all want freedom. We like freedom with security. We want equality of life. We want to be able to predict that if we work hard, there'll be good outcomes for our family, for our friends, for our children. But now we can all inhale the fresh air of a vibrant democracy, enjoy the fruits of the labors, cherish family and spiritual values once again. And I think, and more than any nation I know, that people in Poland that travel around the world value intellectual pursuits, value reading, value knowledge, than any other country I know. Especially reading, debating, learning, and challenging the status quo. So I am honored to be here, honored to share these few ideas with you. I thank you for this great honor. Andre, everyone. Thank you.